Hello, World Wide Web. I'm Dr. Shado, the internet personality with the best hair. And it's still summer, so it is still...
The Summer of Sylvester Stallone!
It's not so bad. This week we're reviewing The Expendables 2. Released 2 years after the original, The Expendables 2 was actually greenlit before the original was even finished. This is partly the reason that Gunnar was very awkwardly reintroduced as alive at the end of The Expendables, as he is quite the important character in the sequel. Well, that is better than awkwardly reintroducing him at the beginning of the second, but this also meant that certain actors who didn't want to be in the first, after seeing how well it did, jumped at the chance to be in the sequel, such as Claude Van Damme. While he thought the character written with him in mind in The Expendables was pretty shallow and unmemorable, this time around he jumped at the chance to be cast as the villain, Villain. And no, it wasn't just a placeholder name that stuck. It's supposedly inspired by the 19th century poet Paul Verlaine. So what's the story about? Bad guys, nuclear weapons, and billions of dollars. So let's take a look at The Expendables 2 and see exactly how they intended to top the first. The film opens in Nepal, in a war-torn village full of people in distress, and camouflaged combatants who don't speak English, and therefore deserve to die. If only a band of heroes could fly in and give this town some freedom! Right on cue, just 2 minutes in, we see said heroes entering from the horizon. I think it's either that or I'm accidentally reviewing Mad Max considerably sooner than expected. In case you're expecting piles of exposition and slow establishing shots to reintroduce us to all the major players in this series...
Here we go!
You didn't pay attention to the first movie. Also, it seems to me that the filmmakers really wanted to top that awesome action sequence from the end of The Expendables. It just so happens they were incredibly impatient and set out to accomplish this first damn thing this time around. And holy fuck, while it didn't have the build-up that scene did, this is a fucking incredible way to start your movie out. Heavy on the action, impressive spectacle, and with just enough jokes while establishing a massive body count first thing.
Incoming chopper!
Don't worry, it's CGI. Can't let them look weak though, so they battle CGI with CGI, taking down that pesky visual effect before heading deeper into the base. It's also notable that Jet Li is alone in most of his scenes, and also not in most of the movie. Unfortunately, he was filming another movie at the time, which meant that he had to film all his parts in Hong Kong. On the plus side, that does mean that there were plenty of professionals around to choreograph this kind of fight. When Jet Li sent a complaint back to the kitchen, he doesn't fuck around. Point is, they infiltrate the enemy base with surgical precision. All to locate and rescue 2 hostages.
Oh, this is embarrassing.
Yeah, sure is.
It could be worse. I mean, hypothetically, people could find out about an illegitimate child you had from boning an employee who wasn't even attractive and it could tank your political career. But that would give you more time for movie roles. Schwarzenegger, reprising his role as Trench, was captured while trying to secure a Chinese billionaire being held for ransom. As he failed, Ross and his team came in to save them both. This doesn't sit well with Arnold, being saved by the less impressive Stallone, but he'll live.
If I don't get this back, your ass is terminated. In your dreams.
Did I mention that they drop references constantly? Cheesy as it might be, it's impossible for me to get through this scene without a smile on my face. Nevertheless, Arnold leaves to meet up with his own extraction team, while our heroes engage in part 2 of the opening action sequence, getting the hostage to safety. And it's got just as much spectacle as the first, as they slaughter their pursuers via water slide, before using the high voltage power lines to transfer their own high voltage power out of there. Problem is, Stallone gets clipped and Statham stays behind to keep him cover, meaning that both of them wind up surrounded.
They're loaded.
We can only hope.
Stallone's secret weapon. He'll just fire all the extras and then we'll have to go home. Or we find out that in an action movie, not only do you not have to reload, he doesn't actually even need a gun. Or this is just a means that the film takes to introduce us to a new, fresh, and young member of the Expendables, Billy, played by Liam Hemsworth. While the main group does their best to escape via boat to plane, he provides cover fire.
like boom, headshot! Boom, headshot!
He's almost as scary as Nico Twins with that thing. After enough explosions, death, last-ditch efforts to lower the weight, and the will they make it suspense, they make it. Which finally brings us to the movie's title. Fuck, what an opening. Obviously, the excitement dies down pretty quickly as they've got to move on to establishing important details, such as they just so happen to be unable to land in China for the time being, so Jet Li leaves the movie at this point by parachuting down with the billionaire to complete the job.
Then who am I supposed to pick on?
You will find not a minority.
Or you can just start trolling on Tumblr, removing Jet Li from the rest of the movie. But don't worry, we still have to establish character traits for our newbie, Billy.
I'd like to finish out the month. Then I want to go meet up my girlfriend.
He's smart, handsome, kind-hearted, is engaged, and will be retiring from mercenary work as soon as their next mission is over. Should I give the spoiler warning for saying that, even? They don't have to go far to get to said mission, as it finds them.
What do you want from me, Church?
Not too good in the memory category, are you, Barney?
Yeah, I remember you from the first movie, the CIA agent who offered the job to kill the general while the real target was the ex-CIA member who was working with him, and Barney turned down the job and didn't get the money, but all the morals and shit caused him to fly off and do the right thing anyway.
But what breaks my heart is that you stole $5 million from me.
When he turned down the job. Otherwise, what the hell did this mean?
It's still 5 million.
We'd never live to spend it. I'm telling Church the deal's off. Sound about right?
It's about right. I agree.
Did he say that and then you just handed him the money and watched him leave? And besides, the deal was half up front, half on completion, so even if that did happen, he only owes you $2.5 million, doesn't he? So, yeah, Bruce Willis is going senile, it seems, but that means he feels Stallone owes him something, and is willing to collect that something by means of having him watch over another agent as they head out to retrieve a package. Said agent is Maggie Chan, played by Nan Yu.
Church told me what you said. I'm combat proficient. I don't need a babysitter.
This isn't an escort mission, it's co-op mode. Thus the team flies out, Maggie in tow, and we see that Gunner has a thing for Maggie, but can't articulate himself, and Billy talks about his life in the army, looking out for his friends, and the harsh cruelty of combat. And yeah, we know where this is going. Point is, they track down the location of the lost package, an airplane crash.
Either grab a hold of this thing, I think it's spring-loaded. They hook it on.
No problem, there are crates everywhere. Get someone to jam it in the doorway and keep it open.
We can't hold this!
You have to!
No, there's big metal boxes just 5 feet away. Just grab one.
The explosive timer's triggered.
How long?
54 seconds.
If we leave now, we'll make it!
Maggie, let it go!
No, I can do it.
Could be just her. Just if you grab the box right over there.
Got it.
Yeah, lucky I was here.
Just thinking that.
Him or the box he's sitting right next to? Point of it all is Maggie got the package, so now they have to meet back up with their lookout, Billy, and go home. Wouldn't you know it, though? Billy's in trouble!
I'm sorry, sir, they were waiting.
I couldn't stop them. They want your autograph, sir. Bad. This would be our bad guys. Well, obviously, but they are being led by Villain, played by Claude Van Damme.
When I fire, his head will be gone.
I downloaded an extra gore mod, but it's still a little buggy. Holding Billy hostage and threatening his life, our group of miscreants demand that everyone drop their weapons and hand over the mystery package they recovered. Despite Billy telling them over and over, don't listen and don't worry about him, they comply. Of course, Billy had a point, because... oh, damn it, not the hero's friend who was so nice and was retiring soon anyway. Who could possibly have seen this coming? Apparently, Billy based both on his dialogue and the fact that he just so happened to have a letter written to his fiancée just in case he happened to be murdered by Jean-Claude Van Damme. Ross is more interested in knowing exactly what in the fuck was so important about that package, though. Turns out, it contained the layout of an abandoned ex-Soviet mine and the locations of ass tons of weapons-grade plutonium stockpiled during the Cold War.
This kid died so some dirtbag could make bombs.
No, this kid died so some dirtbag could make money. The guy he sells the plutonium to makes the bombs. Still, they're one member down, so they need to figure out a new strategy.
Track him, find him, kill him.
I like it. Elegant. Painful.
And leaves nothing behind but the great smell of brute.
Of course, Church is frustrated that the simple fetch quest hasn't been completed yet, but considering the loss of a friend and the fact that he's trying to kill the entire enemy faction already, Stallone doesn't want to hear it.
No, Church, you're the kind of guy that pulls the strings and everyone else does your dirty work because you never had the guts to do it yourself.
Seems I'm gonna have to send him the entire Die Hard series. Except the 5th one. Well, good thing that's not out yet. In the meantime, our heroes are after the villains, led by Verlaine. Problem is they don't quite know where to look, so after beating the shit out of some bar patrons, they find out that the enemy faction are the Sinks. Or Sanks. Or Stanks. I'm not entirely sure, I didn't hear it exactly. But they claimed ownership of the eastern areas. While Christmas works grunt duty by the plane, everyone else is on the patrol for a plot thread. They happen across an old Soviet training ground for practicing potential attacks on American soil. Beats pitching a tent, so they opt to spend the night.
Yo, what if you knew you were gonna die tomorrow? What would your last meal be? One choice.
One choice?
And if anyone mentions diet fat-free bullshit, I'm going to strangle you.
Crispy aromatic duck with plum sauce. Very sexy.
I don't know about sexy. I personally have never had the urge to fuck a duck.
My favorite Swedish dinner would be baby seal and whale ash.
My searching for whatever the hell that dish might actually be has only sent me to lists of Dolph Lundgren quotes, so, yeah.
But I'd really die for some Chinese.
Did you mean that as a pickup line? Because in my head I just hear that you intend to try to chop her up and eat her. Come morning, Stallone has planned their search, but there is a slight problem. Fucking random spawns get you every time. Meaning we get another action scene, because who cares about finding out who anyone is or why they're there when you can just shoot at each other instead?
Can you hold them off?
Yeah, maybe with a tank.
Oh, shit.
What?
They got a tank.
True, but rush up and smash the X button, and you've got a tank. Considering that, and the fact that everyone is low on ammo, as Christmas has the supplies, things don't look too promising. But may as well try. That's a hell of a ricochet.
Hey, who did that?
Damn, did the John Cena joke last week. It turns out they had some surprise help by a man known as the Lone Wolf, played by Chuck fucking Norris. They never explain how one man managed to take out an entire army, or where the fuck that rocket came from, but in a way that just makes it better. It's like it's saying, because it's Chuck Norris.
That you were bitten by a king cobra?
Yeah, I was. But after 5 days of agonizing pain, the cobra died.
Yeah, they went there. However, that doesn't bring them any closer to their goal of tracking the Sinks and avenging Billy, so Norris points out that there's a village nearby where they might locate some allies.
You're gonna need more men if you expect to get out alive.
Can you help out?
Sorry, Barney. I work alone.
I understand.
I have no friends. It turns out there really is a limit to the amount of Chuck Norris jokes someone is willing to hear. Still, they take his advice and find the village, which apparently is populated exclusively by strong, independent women.
Put down guns! That's not happening!
Safest place is in front of that gun.
Who have very little experience with firearms. It turns out the reason for both of these oddities is because the Sinks have already ransacked this village, kidnapping the men to work in the mine, leaving behind the women and children. But the mines work them so hard, and so many have died already, surely they must be coming back to get the rest.
Get it. We found the plutonium.
Or not. Fuck, these guys are supermen. Plutonium is so dense that each of those cylinders would weigh about 200 pounds. That guy is slinging 600 pounds in his arm like it's a goddamn grocery bag. Oh, wait, these guys still sent people over to gather more workers? Okay, I don't see why. But it does mean we get another kick-ass action sequence out of it. now that Caesar has lost his automatic shotgun, Christmas is definitely my favorite fighter for this movie.
One more!
Shit, that's like the opposite of what just happened with Chuck Norris earlier. Proving this sweep was pointless, it turns out that the bad guys have already managed to loot all the plutonium.
This is the last one?
Да.
Good.
Shit, these guys pass around 200-pound cylinders like they're a baguette. Couldn't they just fusroda that iron plug out of the way? Van Damme confirms the plan is to blow the mine with all the villagers who are completely inconsequential still inside, for bonus evil points. However, the heroes are on the way.
Come on, let's move!
Gonna be interesting explaining that one to Allstate. While the group arrived in time to take out all the leftovers, Villain has already managed to slip away with the incredibly light plutonium. Dropping your mercenary pursuers with a cave-in. There's an app for that.
We're gonna be here a while.
Has anyone got Netflix on their phone? No? Damn. Don't worry though, Gunnar here is a chemist. It was established earlier. Kinda glossed over that. But the former drug addict is in fact a college-educated chemist and knows how to make a bomb to get them out.
Do it. The man's a chemical engineer, right?
And a food bud scholar.
They pretty much gave Gunnar the same backstory as Dolph Lundgren, who's also a chemist. Thus, it's boom time.
All the phosphorus must have been down.
Yeah, right.
If only the cave-in didn't cause everyone to piss themselves. Just when all hope seems lost.
I'm back.
That's nothing a little Deus Ex Machina can't fix. Oh wait, it's Schwarzenegger, so would that make it Machina Ex Machina? Returning the rescue favor from earlier, Trench frees Ross and his cohorts, while inadvertently saving the villagers in the process. He also lets Stallone know that he's going to be participating in the climax this time around, along with another.
Heard there was a party in town.
Yeah, but it's my party.
Has he always been as selfish?
Always.
I need to change my underwear. Therefore, with the aid of a helicopter, they manage to cut Villain off at the pass, that being his intended escape route at the local airport. This kicks off the ridiculously awesome climax, as again, everyone is here, spare Jet Li, killing the fuck out of Van Damme's private army, and we have Stallone, Schwarzenegger, and Bruce fucking Willis kicking ass together! And goddamn Chuck Norris!
Who's next? Rambo?
I was hoping for Snake Plissken, personally. This movie knows what it is, and knows its audience absolutely perfectly, as exemplified in this scene, being balls-to-the-wall action and willing to poke fun at itself every minute.
Get in!
Your shoe is bigger than this car.
And the car probably wasn't as expensive to boot. This is a bit too chaotic for the final confrontation, though, so Stallone corners Van Damme, and ordering Maggie to stand down, he heads in alone to take him down.
Let's make it more dramatic. Now that's better.
It's nothing quite like a charismatic, likable villain. I have no idea how the hell this cover stops bullets, but no bother. They stop shooting anyway because Van Damme has the idea to challenge Stallone in hand-to-hand combat.
You want to man up? I'll man you up.
I'll man you all the way up.
Over so soon. I want my money's worth.
Hey, I'm just impressed that you can still do that spin kick.
Coming right up. Boom, back down.
Oh, okay, who do I root for here? Because, to be honest with you, I'm okay with Van Damme winning. The fight is pretty brutal overall, ending when they manage to get a hold of some weapons, and letting Stallone remind us all what this was about.
His name was Billy.
Oh yeah! Billy, that guy. Yeah. This ends the battle and brings our story to a close with the Expendables victorious. The plutonium in the hands of the CIA. Is that good? Oh, and Bruce Willis even sprung to get the guys a new plane.
That thing belongs in a museum.
We all do.
Yeah, but most museum curators get kind of pissed off when you blow up 80% of the displays. Anyway, that was The Expendables 2. And, in my opinion, it's a step up from the first. While the conflict and spectacle this time around was objectively bigger, as per sequel rules, I think the part that really helps this movie rise above the first was it had a better sense of what kind of film it is, and therefore the overall feel is done very well. The jokes flow more naturally, the action is kick-ass from start to finish, and the banter between the characters seems more natural. There are changes that people might not care for, I guess. The first one was a lot more emotional, with scenes to dig into the idea of moral rights and guns for hire versus heroes, while this time it's just a very simple revenge plot with plutonium trade sprinkled in for flavor. But I like the change. In my opinion, it seems more fitting for the genre. What I don't think worked had to do with the plot, mostly. The carryover from the first movie to trap them into the deal, I don't think that's how it happened. I mean, we never saw the deal, but that's not how it was explained back then. Also, the inconsistencies in the behavior of the enemy faction, looking for more workers while the workers have finished working and they plan to kill off the workers, it looks to me like, at the very least, Evil Incorporated has managerial problems. Overall, The Expendables 2 is a blast of a ride, and I'd call it a better film than the first, but not a super flawless work, coming in at 4 water slides of death out of 5. It's a shame that Van Damme's character had to die, though. Wait a minute. Maybe they could do like they did with Gunner, and he can come back in the next movie as super villain after drinking the plutonium, and he will be twice as kick-ass and can do the spinny kick until he flies to the moon. No? I just... Okay. Thank you all for watching. I've been Shado, and remember, Chuck Norris has missiles. He just does.
I'll be back. You've been back enough. I'll be back. Yippee-ki-yay.